Anytime, Bruce. Anytime, Bruce. All right, we are recording. Good morning, all you beautiful Benzie Democrats. Wow. So glad to see so many of you here in the room and on Zoom. And I know you're not here for me. So with that, let's start with the Pledge to Allegiance. And I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Someday. So we have a full house, about 50 people in the room and 26. So this might be one of our biggest meetings here, about 75, 76 people. So bravo to all of you. So thank you for coming out. One of the reasons that you're here today is because of the fabulous food that we have. So let's thank all the people who contributed, our talented cooks and bakers and people who were kind enough to donate food for us to enjoy today. So thank you very much. Let's get right down to it. There's a lot of things to do today. The big thing is the No Jack Town Hall. How many of you have heard of indivisible groups that are offering town halls in places where they're usually a Republican congressperson won't show up to talk to them? All right, I don't have to tell this group anything. You guys know. Indivisible Traverse is having one next Saturday. If you haven't signed up for it to be in person, it is filled already. We do have something on our Facebook page where you can register and they will send you a live stream link so you can watch it at home or in the convenience, but you don't have to go to Traverse. Um, uh, I think it was March 10th is our Facebook post on that. So, please, if you're interested at all, it's going to be, the fact that they sold out so quickly, that they filled up so quickly shows there's a huge interest. So that is going to be on the 22nd. We were thinking of having a car caravan, but with parking and everything, just get there on your own the best way possible. We don't know if you can bring signs or anything, but we are having a poster making class session right after this meeting. We've got poster board, we've got markers. We're collecting possible sayings in case you can't think of anything for your sign. People on the chat are doing a real good job of helping us out there. And we need to make Jack know that he should talk to us, not just the people in Kingsley that are friendly, not just the places where he's going to get a big warm welcome. He needs to answer questions from us. So this is going to be an opportunity. Indivisible as they've done for, yeah, you tell them, Sylvie. You tell them. Yeah. Bark against Jack. Indivisible always invites the person. So it's not like we're doing this behind his back. If he wanted to show up, we would be more than welcome to see little Weasley Jack Bergman's face on the stage and talk to him in person. But you know what? He's afraid of us because why? There are a lot more of us who don't like him and have a lot of questions for what he's doing. And I think even some people who voted for him are having a lot of questions about why he is not supporting our veterans, why he is not supporting our seniors, why he is not supporting us. We're his constituent too. So March 22nd, be there if you can, if you've already registered. If you can't, follow it on live stream. If you want to participate with a poster, show up in some way. So we're offering different ways where you can become involved. Did I miss anything, Jim?
Just where it is and when it is.
Oh, yeah. That's why he was your chair for so long. It is Saturday. It starts at 10 o'clock and it's at the Milliken Auditorium.
1 o'clock.
Oh, I'm sorry.
1 o'clock.
I added a 0. It's 1 o'clock. Don't get there too early. And it's at the Milliken Auditorium by the Dennis Museum on campus. So, be there if you can, participate by live stream if you can. But, let's let Jack know that we're watching what he does and we see he's not doing much for us. So that I don't know. That I don't know. I mean, it is your right to assemble. I don't know what accommodations Indivisible's making for that. If that's what you want to do, that's fine too. Okay, something else that's fun. Our last movie night is going to be Friday the 28th. And we're doing Standing in the Shadows. It's about Motown, it's music, it's lively, it's dancing, and seeing as the other two films that we had, we're hitting a little too close to home with Canadian Bacon and Don't Look Up. This will be more fun, more music, and we're going to have more good food. It's going to be chili and cornbread. We start at about 5 o'clock, the movie at 6, and hope to get you out of here at 8 o'clock when it's probably still light. So that's really nice. Our really popular and successful scholarship dinner, the Carol Volpe Scholarship Dinner, details on that have been completed, and that's going to be from 4:30 to 8 on Tuesday, May 6th at Cold Creek in Beulah. We've been there before. We did have some issues last time. We think we worked those out with Z, the woman who owns it. It is going to be $40 for a buffet, and that includes your tip. It will be a cash bar. So if you want beer or wine or something like that, or a drink, that's on you. You can RSVP at our email address, which is benzidemocrats.com. So BenziDemocrats.com. Oh, I'm sorry, at gmail.com. Sorry. Yeah, see, I need him. You want to sit here just in case? We're also asking this time if you can give us an idea about when you're planning to come. So we're not going to hold you to it, but if you think you're going to be coming earlier or later, like after 6, before 6, and especially if you have a large party of like 6 or more, we would love to accommodate everybody, but last time all of a sudden we had a huge party and it just kind of threw everybody for a loop. So if you just give us a little warning, if you're going to bring more than 4 people, that would be great. We've done very well with the scholarship dinner, and we're really appreciative of everybody who supported it. Yeah. Okay. So somebody did know that you don't have to be on Facebook. The only reason I mentioned Facebook is because that's where we have the link. It was on our Facebook page. One last thing, a couple last things, actually. I do want to introduce a new face sitting next to me as our new co-secretary, Louise Brody. So, yeah. She's hit the ground running. She's doing a great job. So she and Stuart McFerrin are sharing the job. But that leads me into Jim Dolzo, because we still need some more help.
We could really use a co-treasurer. Paul Vezina does a fabulous job. He's just so on it. But it would be nice to have a backup for Paul when he can't do it or when he's tired, which probably happens given the work he does everywhere else and with our treasury stuff. So if you have, all you need is a little bit of a thing with numbers, and you could do this. So if you'd like to help us by being a co-treasurer or a backup treasurer, somebody to help us when Paul needs help with that, that would be really, really appreciated. He's been doing it for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years now, and does a great job. And it would be great to have somebody who can spell him from time to time. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is lookouts. Who here gets a report from us about what's going on at your township meetings? All right, okay. That's because there's somebody in your township who goes to those township meetings, takes notes, and then Deanne edits them and sends them out to all y'all in your township. we still need people to do that in Crystal Lake Township, Lane Township, Homestead Township, Inland Township, and Frankfurt. We don't say somebody in Frankfurt right now, which is kind of crazy. So if you'd like to help us with that, it's actually a lot of fun. We find that the people that do this end up saying, wow, you know, this is actually really interesting. All the stuff that's going on, it directly affects you and where you live. And so it's interesting. We get like a 65% open rate on those, which is outrageous. No emails get a 65% open rate, but they do because people care about it. So if you'd like to help us, and you don't have to be in one of those townships, I should say that. If you're in another township that's already covered, but you would like to do this with us, we'll send you to another township. It's once a month. It's one meeting. It's, you know, usually a couple hours. They generally don't tend to be marathons or anything. And then you write it up as much as you can, and Deanne will make you look good. If you don't think you're a good writer, Deanne will make you look good. We promise. Okay. Yes, Paul can vouch for that. So please consider doing that. And that's all I got.
All right, thank you, Jim. So please let Jim know, or me know, or anybody else if you're willing to be a lookout. It's like being a reporter, which is great fun because, you know, you get to let people know exactly what your local governments are doing, how they're spending your money, our money. And, you know, if there's something going on that might be a little shady, this is a chance for you to give people a heads up. So, you know, it's always good to have a public eye on public officials. So, and this is your way that you can contribute if you're at all interested or inclined. So I went into new technology kicking and screaming. I swore I would never have a Twitter account. I don't like Facebook. I don't like any of this stuff, but I do it because it's a way that we communicate nowadays, and it's I see it almost as a necessary evil. So it's a, you know, with the lack of our regular media are letting us down. I'm a former newspaper reporter and editor, and I'm just, you know, really dismayed and disgusted by the state of the Washington Post and even the New York Times. So this is another way where we can share quality information, and Aubry's going to give us some tips for pitfalls. But it's also another way for us to be connected. We started a Blue Sky account. Blue Sky is the new, what used to be Twitter, what used to be X, has turned into an absolute cesspool. And so Blue Sky started. It seems to be a friendlier place. There's more engagement, less trolling, although I'm sure that may change. So we do have a Blue Sky account, and if you want to follow us, we're at benziedems.bsky.social. And so far, we've got 67 followers, and we're following 105. 68, thank you. And you know what? I think we are going to, Aubry, can we delay yours because Betsy's in the house? So we are going to delay our little tutorial because in the house with us, we have one of our best friends, Betsy Coffia. Let me. Thank you for having me. So Betsy really needs no introduction, and to the camera, can we ask you to sit? It is on. It is on. So I'm not going to tell you a whole lot about Betsy because you all know her, but she is a true friend to us. She represents part of Benzie, so we do claim her as ours, even though John Bumstead is takes the rest of us. So, you know, Betsy, I will turn this over to you. Thank you. Can everybody hear me okay? It is. You're fine. Okay. Oh, okay. Hi, Zoom people.
Good morning, Benzie Democrats. It's really good to see you all today. Thank you for giving me a chance to be here. And in fact, this is really heartwarming. Look around how many like-minded people there are here today, right now on a Saturday. On a beautiful day, you could be anywhere and you're here. So look around and say hey to your neighbors. So, yeah, Jill Kimball had asked me to come and just kind of share some updates with you. But, there's been so much happening, obviously, over the last couple of months, a lot of really tough things. And so I don't want to assume what's on you guys' mind. I would love to be able to answer questions. But before I do that, I will just offer a couple of things that my team and I are doing to try to meet this moment. Obviously, November 5th did not go the way any of us wanted them to. That was our moment to do the easy thing, and it didn't happen. So now we've got a lot of really hard things we have to do. And I take that very seriously. I was fortunate enough that the voters of the 103rd District sent me back to Lansing, and actually just take some credit for that, because we were, of all of the swing seats, we got the highest voter turnout and the best win margin of the entire state, of every Democratic House seat. So well done. In an absolutely abysmal electoral environment, we overperformed significantly. And that, well, I had the best community. They had the highest voter turnout in Northern Michigan in the whole state. And that's something that I said. We had an event on January 20th, and a message that I sent is, we're doing it right in Northern Michigan. We are. Democracy, small d democracy. We are engaging, we are electing people from township to city to village to county to state house and senate. Our votes were the deciding votes, really, for Alyssa Slotkin's extremely narrow win. And she just went to the United States Senate and voted the way we needed her to. Our votes in Northern Michigan, if you think about the strength of this region and what we've been doing for the last several years with small d democracy and really leading and doing what we're doing here, downstate Dems would be envious of a room like this, let me tell you. So it is incredible the way Northern Michigan, and Benzie specifically, you punch above your weight class. How many people were a part of Dana Nessel's original insurgent campaign? How many people participated in that? Look around. Everything's Nessel. Let's go to the police. Us. I want to tell you, it is so important, the work that we've been doing to build, so that we have fighters on the front lines as we are defending, I will not sugarcoat it, an authoritarian who is actively working to dismantle the democracy that our forebears fought to give us. The work that we have done over the years and will continue to do is putting those fighters on the front lines. And I want to talk for a minute about Dana Nessel specifically, because when I look around, is anybody looking around for Democratic leadership right now at the national level? Oh, sure. Look, I'm a Democrat at the state house level. I watch everything you're watching. I'm watching all the federal actions. And boy, I wish I had a very little Congress and could, step up to the mic at CNN. That is not the role that I have, but we have people who are fighting. And as the Democratic Party is trying to figure itself out nationally, there are some really strong heroes in the mix that Benzie Dems sent there. Dana Nessel and over 20 other Democratic attorneys general. January 2024, they did what, frankly, I believe that every Democratic leader at the national level should have been doing, and frankly, our governors as well, and they better get their shit together quick, in my opinion. But Dana Nessel and the other Democratic AGs did something. They saw Project 2025. They said, we've got a roadmap. If he gets back in, God forbid, we got to be ready. And has anyone noticed that where Democrats are winning is in the courts? Because we elected a smart defender in our Attorney General Dana Nessel. They have been planning, those AGs have been meeting since January 2024 and mapping out an entire legal strategy, so that a lot of other people that seemed like they got hit and didn't realize what was coming. The AGs were ready. They had their lawsuits ready to go. They won. And you notice how we keep winning in the courts? That's because you elected a fighter, a strategic think, a national leader. So I would ask all of you, if you're feeling a little frustrated, a little discouraged at the lack of leadership you're seeing in other ways, let's focus on doing it right and give them some encouragement. Can you all promise me that you're going to write to Dana Nessel and tell her, thank you, keep fighting, we're with you. We're winning in the courts. It's critical that we keep winning in the courts. What I can do here as your state representative, and I do claim all of Benzie, John Roth can deal with it. Y'all are mine too. What I'm doing in my capacity to try to meet this the best I can is a couple of things. One, I have 2 staff. God bless them. 8 does all my scheduling and my constituent services calls and emails, and Ashley does my policy work. Well, we have seen a threefold increase in calls and emails to my office since January. Anyone have any guesses what people are calling me about? It's probably some of you. It's because people are able to get through and reach us. And so we're fielding 3 times the calls and emails, and it's a lot of folks saying, oh my God, what's happening at the federal level and what can we do? So one of the first things we're doing is giving them the information they need to know as far as 5 calls. Anybody using the app 5 calls now to call your member of Congress? We are encouraging people to say, yes, we're concerned to call your senators, call your representative. I don't care if Jack Bergman is going to ignore us, make his life hell anyway. This is his job. He should be hearing from you. We are letting people know about how they can push back. We are directing them to local groups like Indivisible and the Dems and any organization because this is too hard to do alone. We need each other. Small d democracy does not work if we try to do it in isolation. It never did, it never will. And for the communities that are particularly being targeted right now, you're LGBTQ, if you are an immigrant, in particular, my team and I have been putting together regional specific resource and supports, basically a toolkit if it's a parent or a person who is being impacted so that we can direct them to local supports. Anything that we can do to make sure that people do not feel alone and they can be connected with communities. So if you are a part of any kind of effort around that, whether it's supporting our LGBTQ community or our immigrant and migrant community, and you know of an effort, please come to me because my team is trying to keep a strong and growing list and connecting people to others who will support them. Another thing that we are doing, and a shout out to Sue Jennings here. She has been really helpful in this. A lot of the workers who were fired illegally, those federal fired workers, I've been talking to them one-on-one and getting their stories and their consent if they want to talk to state.
Across the sound.
We lost this.
Republicans are against gay people. What the hell? They're not going to go away. It's like, jeez. Look at all that. So, yeah, it's just junk. Did they lose it on their end?
Yeah.
Can we mute that? Sorry. People on Zoom, you're on mute. Got it? Good?
Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us.
Can you guys hear?
Yeah.
We good? So town halls, let's keep talking about town halls. We know that part of the strategy, besides our brilliant and AGs with foresight who are filing these lawsuits, which are critical, town halls are another really important way to amplify what is happening and get the real stories out there, because when everyday Americans, no matter who they voted for, see and feel what's actually happening, they hate it. And that's a really important way to push back on what Trump and Musk are doing, is to continue to build that popular pressure against all of the destructive things they're doing. So town halls. The Attorney General and I have been talking regularly on the phone about what we can do, how I can support her work. She is now, I invited her to come and do a town hall right here in Northern Michigan. She will be here next Friday, the 21st. She and I are co-hosting a town hall. It'll be in Traverse City. I'm not going to say the location for security reasons, but I believe you have the way for people to sign up with a registration link. If you want to come, you better sign up soon because we in the first 24 hours, we had over 150 people sign up. The venue seats about, well, I won't say how many, but you need to, because you'll know where it is. If you want to come, please make sure you register soon because I do expect us to pack the house. But that does several things. It will give the people of Northern Michigan the opportunity to share the impacts of what is happening in your concerns. Fired workers will be put front and center to be able to speak to what's happening to them. Programs whose funding have been frozen, we're working to get some of them to be able to amplify. Media will cover it, right? And it also puts a really great contrast on our absent congressman who apparently is vacationing in Louisiana yet again. So it is really important for us to continue to amplify these stories, and I'm really grateful to the AG for agreeing to come up and host a town hall with me. So those are some of the things that we are doing, I am doing in the position that you elected me to, and that your Attorney General is doing in the position that you elected her to. This is going to be a long, hard fight. It's going to be a long, hard fight.
More than a state
We're already
policy.
having losses. We're going to have more. And I think besides sharing with you what I'm doing in the position that you put me in to fight back and encouraging you to do everything you can, because small d democracy is in trouble right now, and the cure for a sick democracy is more democracy. The cure for small d democracy that is sick, which ours is more democracy, and that takes all of us. I want to tell each of you how grateful I am to you for doing everything you can. It's critical, even if it feels so frustrating and so not enough to make those calls. Keep making the damn calls. Okay? Do you promise? Keep making the damn calls. And don't do it alone. Everything that I have read, and I've been doing a lot of reading and research about how authoritarian how they work, how they operate, and what it takes to fight back and to push back. Successful efforts to push back on authoritarianism are nonviolent, they are persistent, and they are done in community. So gatherings like today, gatherings with Indivisible, gatherings with your neighbors and your friends, do the work together and take care of each other. And have fun. That's a weird thing to say, but joy is one of the most powerful forces against authoritarianism. They want you scared, depressed, and at home alone because it's easier to control a population who's terrified and fractured and all home away from one another. Joy is the fuel. Community is the fuel, taking care of each other. And you guys are so good at that already. I always love coming to the Benzie Dems because you take such good care of each other. That's going to be critically important in the days, weeks, and months ahead. But I think that the path forward is going to be hard, and our best chance of navigating it will be together. So I want to just thank you all for everything that you are doing. Thank you for what you will continue to do. On behalf of my 6-year-old niece and my 10-year-old nephew, who deserve a democracy, thank you for fighting for them. I will too. So with that, thank you for having me today, and I'm happy to take any questions you have. Happy to take questions.
I know many people have been making calls, but I've also heard that emails can be effective because they're saved at the office. Can you illuminate us on that?
Yes, and thank you for, I didn't have prepared remarks so much as just wanting to speak from the heart, so of course I missed some things. Emails are perfectly legit. You should absolutely email, especially, I know I've been calling, I talk to Slotkin's staff in other ways, but I make my calls too, just so you know. And I often just get a voicemail. Yesterday with Peters's office, I couldn't get through at all. I had to try, but I was persistent. Remember, she persists, and men, you can follow our lead and persist too, please. Thank you. You can absolutely email as well. And if that's, some of us, like, talking on the phone is not our thing. Social anxiety is a real thing. Email is perfectly legitimate. Talking to your friends and neighbors. I am going to encourage people, write letters to the editor. If you're doing the work to write an email about what you're concerned about, double that thing. Make it work for you. Send it not only to the Benzie Record Patriot, the Record Eagle, Northern Express, send it to statewide newspapers. Northern Michigan, your voice should be heard at the statewide, and hell, if you want to, even send it to the national level. If you're doing the work to write out a well thought out concern, connect it to the real world, what your neighbors who might not be political care about, send that in as a letter to the editor as well.
Betsy?
Other questions?
Betsy, may I ask you a question from Zoom?
Sure, go ahead.
This is Steve Thompson.
I know, I could recognize your voice. Hi, Stephen.
I know this is totally off the wall, but do you know by any chance if Gretchen is dropping the idea of a wholesale tax on cannabis?
I do not have any intel about that, Stephen, I'm afraid. Sorry.
All right.
Yeah. Another one related to, okay, okay. Governor Whitmer, sorry, this is from my husband who's on the school board. Sure. So, Governor Whitmer has proposed removing the 6% sales tax on gasoline and diesel fuel, which 73% of that sales tax goes to the school aid fund. She's received some pushback on that. And so curious what your take is and what you foresee happening, as that would have a major impact on our schools.
Sure. I don't see the governor ultimately supporting anything that would remove funding from our schools. I think personally, I'm not particularly partisan on the issue of roads. I don't want anything that's going to hurt our schools. And I've heard she's floated toll roads. She's also, I believe, or at least the Democratic side has floated sort of a tax by mile, which I out the gate oppose because that disproportionately impacts rural communities who have much farther to drive and working class people who often have to drive further. So, lots of different ideas are being thrown around. I don't see a world in which anything that would take money away from the school aid fund is going to get the Democrats in the Senate, who still have a majority, their vote. I am in the minority in the House, but I certainly wouldn't vote for it either. Right now, it seems like there's a lot of spaghetti being thrown at the wall on the issue of how to fund roads, both by her and Speaker Matt Hall, who's the new Republican majority leader, and we'll see what happens.
Okay.
I'll keep an eye on it, though.
We had a question from Zoom. Will that event with the Attorney General be available on Zoom?
I don't know that we're going to do it on Zoom, but I do anticipate that we are going to hit max capacity, and I want it to be accessible to people who don't get registered in time or can't make the drive in. So what we are currently planning to do is live stream it, much like Senator Slotkin just did her live stream. So making sure it's accessible, and then it's recorded, and you can go back later if you miss it on Friday night.
And then we have Emily Baker had her hand up on Zoom for a question.
Unmute, Emily.
Well, I guess a lot of it is related to the EPA and the clean and stuff about clean energy in general. I mean, I heard about how the EPA is rolling back regulation on emissions from vehicles, and also about the difficulties with implementing clean energy are. What are some, are there going to be any ways to handle or mitigate that? And I also posted something in the chat about something that I had seen in a flyer opposing your campaign, but that I'm trying to make it in better faith than you did, about how if we implemented a lot of clean energy, we'd mitigate any risks in inclement weather.
Sure. So first of all, Emily, hello. And also there were a lot of things said on a lot of flyers about my campaign. Just saying, that was kind of out of control. But A couple things. One, in Michigan, with the majority that you all helped us accomplish last session, we did lose it, but we were able to get some good things done. We adopted some pretty strong. We have some of the strongest clean energy standards in the country now, and the ability to do a lot more on the clean energy front than we could have prior to that vote for a climate package that did get done and is being implemented. Now, I was appointed to the Energy Committee this term in minority in the House, and they're going to try to dismantle our work. The good news is it'll get through the House because they have 58 votes, but the Senate is still Democratic held and the governor is still a Democrat, and they voted for this. It was one of our signature actions. So the good news at the state level, the Republicans cannot roll that back, and they can't roll back most of what we did last term. Federally, the bad news is, guys, a MAGA president got elected and a MAGA House got elected at the federal level and a MAGA Senate. The Democrats do not have the majority, period, at the federal level. And so they also, the Trump-Musk regime does not respect the law anyway, which is another reason we need strong fighters to push it to the courts to force them to respect the law. But they are going to do a lot of damage to a lot of decades of work around clean energy and climate. And that is the outcome of the election. And it's another reason why we're going to have to really do the hard way, right? The easy way was making sure Harris got elected. A completely different future was there. Now we're in the other one. And everything's going to be a hard fight to defend. But again, I think my 6-year-old niece, my 10-year-old nephew, and all of your kids and grandkids deserve for us to fight like hell to preserve as much as we can and to take care of them on our planet. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They are doing a lot of damage, and they will do a lot of damage. I do think pressure on, this is where, again, pressure on Slotkin, I think, gave her the stomach to take the hard vote yesterday. Pressure on our Democratic House members, Senate members, our leadership is going to be really important so that they continue to, or start in some cases, to take a strong stance to defend. So the future is not written, but our participation is going to be a big part of that. So that's what I got for you.
Thank you. Mostly on the federal level, do you see any hope? I mean, I just can't believe that even the Republicans are supporting some of his ideas. Is there any benefit to us also lobbying Republicans? Is there any hope, or do you see any indication that sooner or later some of them are going to bail on some of these absurd ideas?
So thank you for the question. I mean, look, a couple things. What I'm hearing is behind closed doors, many Republicans in Congress, the House and the Senate. I mean, Lisa Murkowski just broke with her party in a Senate vote to stop DOGE and what Elon Musk is doing. She's a Republican from Alaska. Don Bacon, who is a congressperson who I believe is on the foreign, I forget exactly what it's called in Congress, but they deal with military and foreign affairs. He is a ranking member of that committee, and very aware, armed services, thank you, very aware of Ukraine. And he has publicly broken with the president and with Musk on Ukraine. They're starting, and I got to tell you, I think this is where the public pressure, this is where us packing out a damn town hall in Traverse City, Michigan in the north, and what everybody that's not from here perceives as just totally red, is so important, and what Indivisible and what you all are doing nationally to show that public pushback. A lot of members of Congress are in very swingy seats. And if there's one thing most people in Congress seem to care about, it's getting reelected. So they're going to have the popular evidence of, like, my people hate this. Don't touch Social Security. You will have a riot, right? Don't touch Medicare and Medicaid. They know that this is unpopular, but that's where that small d democracy and us, boots on the ground, butts in seats, signs on the street, right, is so important to demonstrate how unpopular these things are so that they can point to it. I know that in Alabama, for example, remember Katie Britt, the senator who gave the rebuttal to Biden, and it was It was kind of creepy. Remember that? She gave that weird Stepford wife thing. Well, it turns out she, and I forget who the other Alabama senator is, but the cuts to the National Institute of Health devastated Alabama because apparently a lot of their universities, that is their bread and butter. And Katie Britt, and I forget who the other senator was, they went to the Trump administration and started advocating and pushing back. I'm hearing in Oklahoma, there was a rep or a senator, a congressperson, who there was so much popular outcry about the devastating cuts that Doge and these teenagers, young engineers are doing, that they are hearing from their constituents. They're hearing from their farmers. USAID, that's like the farmers' bread and butter, right? In some of the most conservative states in the country. So they are getting pushback, and that needs to increase, not decrease. I believe that will force them to push back more and more publicly as we go along. And I hate to say it, this is my theory alone, but I think if they were going to do this anyway, it was all written out, Project 2025. In a weird way, I would rather them front load all of this unpopular stuff at once instead of like bleed it out where people don't realize it. It's like the frog in boiling water. Everybody's being put in crisis all at once. Anybody's stock market, your savings, your retirement, guess who that's going to piss off? A lot of conservative, moderate voters who thought Trump would be a good thing. Wall Street hates what Trump is doing. So that's something I want us to be encouraged. This isn't just Democrats over here saying, we don't like this MAGA guy. It is wide and deep, and it's getting more so. And we need to continue to sort of stoke that pressure. So that's my perspective.
In the back, by the door. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Thank you.
I know there's so many things to be concerned about. Take your pick, but I'm really concerned as a state that borders Canada, that poor Canada. I mean, how do you pick a fight with Canada? But here
the
we
nicest
are.
people ever. I don't know how you
Right.
do that. You're Donald Trump. That's how.
Right. So, and he's very serious about making them the 51st state, annexing, and it's dumb. But do we have a plan as Michiganders to help our Canadian brothers and sisters?
So, I mean, I like red and white. I like maple leaves. I like hockey. Yeah, maybe we flip the script. I think that's a great question, and I'm going to be careful here because I'm one state representative, but I would like to see our governor out front more personally. But I'm one person. I think it's well within all of your rights, and I would encourage you to engage her office and say, what's the plan? Big Gretch, what's the plan? Engage her office. I'm asking her that question. I want to hear from her that she's coordinating with other governors. We could have a really strong Midwest coalition of governors, just like the AGs are doing. Push your leaders. We're not invincible. We make mistakes. I think that I would like to see her be more out and at least communicate with her constituents what the plan is and how we can support one another. As far as Canada goes, I know that Trump thinks this is a great idea. That's another area where I'm seeing several Republican members of Congress break with him and say this is really stupid and we're not going to do it. We need to see more of that. We can't have this monolith of everybody just going along with dear leaders. The more of that we can see, the better. But push your governor on the plan for Canada. She should talk to her people about what the plan is. Respectfully.
Hi, Betsy.
Hi.
I want to bring it back to the state and local level a little bit.
Sure.
As you know, my concern is water.
Yes.
In the last session, we almost got some water affordability bills through.
We did.
In the lame duck, and then it just got screwed up completely.
Lame duck was a train wreck.
Didn't happen. So those are going to be reintroduced.
Yes.
Soon. People's Water Board and folks in Southeast Michigan are working on that. So I'm just asking you to give us a little advice on how we can make it do a better job of moving those things through while we still have some opportunity.
Sure.
And it's not just water affordability, it's water accessibility as well. So there's all these issues around the state where water is threatened, by pollution and other things. And Unfortunately, our state government is offering money to extractive industries in order to provide jobs, and those are industries that are messing up water.
Right.
So it's important to also for us to tell the government, stop offering money to a
Sure.
idiot potash mine from a scam artist from Colorado who wants to put a potash mine in the middle of
Right.
100 square miles of central Michigan. That is very destructive. So how do we do it better this time?
Sure. So the water affordability package, you're right. It was one of many things that got derailed in lame duck. And lame duck, we have a member who was kind of a known quantity coming in, but we were able to kind of keep her somewhat on track during regular session. She's a representative from Detroit. She runs as a Democrat, but she's a big fan of Trump. She went to the White House during COVID, praised ivermectin as a great solution, and is very close with our now Republican Speaker, Matt Hall. All of this is public information. I'm not just trying to bash my colleague. I'm actually not trying to bash my colleague. I'm telling you context. That 56-member majority included her. In some ways, it's kind of amazing we got as much done as we did, given the circumstances. And she often doesn't come to work. And during lame duck, which I pushed my leadership really hard, I got in a lot of trouble as a freshman because I was very vocal about we can't push all of this critical legislation to after the election. This is insanity, especially because we have a member who we know could go rogue at any moment. Well, it happened. During lame duck, the water affordability package was one of those bills that just died because she didn't come to session and all the Republicans refused to come to session. And then we didn't have a quorum, and legally we can't vote on anything. Plus we didn't have a 56-member majority at that point. What you can do now, there was another member, and this is all public record. So his name is Peter. Why did I just blank on his last name? Herzberg. Peter Herzberg came out against it. He's a Democrat from that area. I would engage his office in a diplomatic way and just ask him what his concerns were and what he needs to see changed in order to support it. That would be a useful way. You can reference public media about the bill package and ask him what the concerns were and what would get him to yes. We tried. But between him being a no and Karen refusing to come to work, lame duck was very painful. Especially for me, knowing we had lost our majority. My intuition is you do everything you can while you still have the power. Okay, could you read that to me? I can't.
How can the court's decisions be enforced?
That is an open question right now. I know that the courts, and look, I'm not an expert on this front. This is a really good question to ask our fantastic Attorney General, Dana Nessel, next week at that town hall that she and I are co-hosting. But some of the things that I'm hearing is they have the power to compel people to come to court. They also have the power to do things like freeze assets and other mechanisms. But I'm going to defer that question to our legal expert next week, who is, again, leading the charge on these lawsuits.
Got another question here? Rena Johnston.
Who?
Rena Johnston.
Hold it.
That good?
Who?
Rena Johnston.
Okay, I don't know that name.
Rena?
Oh, you're Rena Johnson. I thought you were talking about somebody else. Hi, Rena.
My question basically is going to get down to the Michigan level, but
yeah,
this project 2025,
yes,
under umbrella SAVE Act,
yes,
where if your birth certificate, the name on your birth certificate does not match your driver's license, you will not be, and you don't have the paperwork to how it got there, you won't be able to vote. I understand there's a House bill introduced that basically is about the same.
There is at the state level. That's
and
true.
How far do you think that's going to get?
Sure, thank you. So is everyone familiar with the SAVE Act? Very Orwellian name for that. It has very red robes and white bonnets vibes for me. Let's just disenfranchise 60 million women from voting. Gosh, why would they want to do that? So I'll start with the local, the state legislative level. Rena, thank you for your question. And then I want to address the national as well. At the state level, thankfully, we do still have a Democratic majority in the state Senate, and we still have a Democratic governor. While she's been quiet and I think more on defense than offense lately, the governor's not going to sign something like that into law. However, we have a Republican Congress and an authoritarian president who doesn't like people voting, especially women. So the real jeopardy, when I think of triaging, and I truly think this is critical for all of us, you can't fight all the fights, so pick a couple, 2 or 3, and do it in community and know that your neighbors are working on some of the others. This one's really important. My instinct and my advice to fight it nationally is this. There are a lot of moderate Republican women who probably don't realize this is happening. And if you can, without, don't trigger a bunch of like political arguments about who they voted for, but just talk about the substance of it and make sure they're aware. I think that they're really credible voices to call their members of Congress, to call the White House to fight back on this. Probably our best chance to stop the SAVE Act is popular pushback, especially from women. Because again, the way this is written, it's a solution looking for a problem, because voter fraud is practically non-existent in this country, but it is voter suppression. And if the married women of this country realized that their Republican Congress and Trump want to take away their ability to vote, I think they might have something to say about that, don't you? So women, talk to your women friends. The time to be afraid of engaging and not wanting to talk about politics is so before times, guys. We are well into the Trump era, and we have to really summon courage and skill. We know how to talk to each other, and we know how to talk to women who are different than us. Talk to them about what this is, what it does, that if your name on your voter registration doesn't match that of your birth certificate or your passport because you got married, they could keep you from voting next election. That's serious. So do your research on that. And another statewide leader that I want to shout out this is her lane. She's been on the front lines with this is Jocelyn Benson, our Secretary of State, who is give her some love.
I have a question about that.
She has been on the front lines of defending democracy, defending our right to vote. We have the second best in the entire country sort of electoral process and election safety. She is putting out a lot of really good resources, and she's speaking out about this issue. So if you want to educate yourself and get up to speed before you go talk to your married women friends, go to Jocelyn Benson's website, find that information about the SAVE Act, and bone up on that, and then you should be able to be well equipped. And this is a good letter to the editor too. This is a good social media post. This is a good thing to bring up. But yeah, that's a very real threat to enfranchising a lot of voters.
Could I make a comment on that or ask a question? Marcia here.
Let's do questions. Go ahead. Hi, Marcia.
Hi, nice to have you. Thanks for all this wonderful
Great to be
presentation.
here.
I'm on the SAVE Act. I am of the impression that it might become a petition. Isn't that correct?
So with the SAVE
So that
Act,
it can be put into
federal,
as an
at the federal
amendment.
level, they don't need to put it as a petition because it's a bill that they've already passed the United States House of Representatives. So
Right,
we need
right.
the Senate to block it. And I mean, I don't know that you can persuade Trump not to sign it. So we need the Senate to stop it.
No, I think that is a danger, but I'm concerned about in Michigan itself. Isn't that an attempt to make it as a petition so that the voters decide and it goes on to the amendment, be an amendment to the Constitution?
Marsha, what I can tell you is you bringing that up is the first time I'm hearing of the idea of it being a ballot initiative. That doesn't mean it's not something. I mean, this is the time of year before the next election cycle. It's well in advance of the 2026 elections. This is the time of year that a lot of people start floating the ideas. I've heard the idea floated of a marriage equality ballot initiative because we need that in Michigan. To overcome the constitutional amendment that was put in place. So I don't know. I haven't heard anything beyond what you just shared with me today, but we can keep an eye on that.
Okay, well, I know that Voters Not Politician is taking up this issue, and they're planning to have a lot of informative sessions around the state about it.
Great. Well, highly recommend to everybody. Voters Not Politicians has done awesome work, good nonpartisan group. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, Marsha.
I was talking to someone about this, and dismissed me by saying that I would be grandfathered in.
Ironic choice of terms.
Fathered.
A very patriarchal of them.
So I'm considering changing my last name back to my maiden name.
Sure. Well, and look, I can't speak to what they were talking about with the grandfathering in at all. I don't know what that is, even what they were referring to. And look, some people will be able to make those changes, revert to their maiden name. Why should they? Number one, it's also a poll tax. We're all the way back to poll taxes for women to have to pay anywhere from $130 to $200 to what? Get a passport to change your name? What are we doing here? So I think putting it in that context that, first of all, ask them what they mean and ask them to show you where anything is written that anyone's grandfathered in. I don't believe that's true at all. Correct. So you can just ask them to show you where they. Oh, I know. Matters. You've got an agenda here, so.
We got Jane back here.
Come on, Jane.
Yeah, anytime anyone makes a claim to you, oh, that's not true, because say, thank you so much. Can you show me where you read that? I always just try. You can put it on yourself. Say, I've been guilty sometimes of posting something and I didn't realize that it wasn't accurate. So I'm just always trying to check my sources. Could you share with me what your source is for that? Yeah, I am. That's right. Right. Sure.
Okay. Here. Okay.
Hi, Jane.
Hi, thank you so much for
Of course.
everything. I've got two questions. One is, it's not just Bergman. It's not just Bergman. Bumstead has never held a town hall or coffee hour or whatever. And as far as I can tell, John Roth hasn't had one in about a year. They also, maybe it's just me, but they don't respond to emails. So, I mean, other than writing letters to the editor, what do you do about that?
I mean, here's what I can tell you. It is actually amazing to me. And I think some of this is constitutionally, there are only certain things you can require legally of your elected officials. I was shocked to learn, for example, when I ran for county commission, that the only legal criteria that could be in place is you had to be 18 and a registered voter where you live. There are no, I got elected as your state rep. I think it's important to hold very consistent and regular coffee hours, be accessible to people. We do answer emails. It might take us a while because we get thousands of them. Thank you for your patience, but to be responsive. But there's no rule that requires these elected officials to do that. But constitutionally, there are only certain things. Now, you could push on leadership, I suppose. And to me, it's like, pick your battles. There are a lot of problems right now. I think it's fair to point that out in letters to the editor when you do have access to these folks, but nobody can make them do it except their voters. And we know that Bumstead, as a state senator, is in a very safe seat, as is John Roth. So much like Jack Bergman, they're not doing it and nobody can make them, kind of thing. But if we can keep things on track here and we have elections next time and we have strong turnout, we could give them a run for their money with the amount of pushback and outrage that I believe people will have by that point in a year and 10 months. So that's not a very satisfying answer, but I do them because I think it's the right thing to do, but nobody can make me. I just do it.
And you're awesome. I see how available you make yourself, and your office does respond quickly.
I'll make sure to tell them you said that,
representative.
because depending on the week, they get a lot of calls and emails, and we really appreciate it. And we try to be responsive. Thank you.
Thank you. My second question is, I heard something about some bills that were passed and ready to be signed by the governor, but Matt Hall won't allow that or something.
Yes.
What's that all about?
Okay. Yes, the 9 bills. So another thing that did not go well during lame duck for the Democrats as we were losing majority. There was we passed quite a few bills before Karen Whitsitt stopped coming to work. And then the Senate, God bless them, when we basically dissolved and we didn't have a quorum anymore after 2 days sitting in the chamber and we were done for the year, the state Senate did a nearly 30-hour marathon session to pass as many of our House bills as they could, just to try to get as much done as they could. But one of the things that happened, and I can't speak for our former speaker why he chose to do this, but he had some bills that he just did not work with the clerk to transmit to the governor before the end of the term. One of them had to do with corrections officers' pensions. This was a bill that is really important because we have a severe shortage of corrections officers. And I think our prisons need reform. There's no question about that. And then in the meantime, you have to have people working there. It's a very hard job. It's a dangerous job. And back under Rick Snyder, corrections officers were stripped of their state pensions, which had the effect of making that very hard, dangerous job far less attractive for anyone to do. And we have a critical shortage in our prisons, and it's dangerous. We've had prison riots. It's not a good scene, and it's hard to hire. So we had a bill that would have put the corrections officers in with the Michigan State Police and reinstated their ability to have a pension. That bill passed both the House and the Senate. The Senate had sent it over to us, but our former Speaker, Joe Tate, did not transmit it to the governor. And now it, along with 8 other bills, the new House Speaker, who's a Republican, is just saying, I'm not going to transmit them to the governor and you can't make me. So he's violating all sorts of norms. It just went to court. The Senate sued and said he should have to do it. And the judge did a ruling that said, yes, he should, but the judge chose not to compel him to do it. So they're stuck in limbo. And they probably aren't ever going to go to the governor to be signed. Leadership matters, pay attention. I mean, I hope to be there for a while, but we should be supporting strong, legitimate Democrats running in these seats, because when we don't, we have people who pull shenanigans that when you have a simple majority, all the rest of our work can be thrown out the window because 1 or 2 bad actors. And that's been we have our Joe Manchins and Kristen Cinemas is how I always like to explain it. And I never like to out people, but that's what happened.
When you said that you plan to be around for a while, does that mean you're going to run again? That's a question.
My job right now is to focus as hard as I can on helping my community, supporting my community, and navigating the next days, weeks, and months intact and taking care of each other and advocating for democracy. And I'm in it as long as you guys are in it. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We've really taken a lot of Betsy's time. She's been so generous with her time and
Of course. If you're in the shot, let's stay in the shot. Like in the shot.
Yep. And also too, I think we may even have hit a record with the number of people. We had about 43, 45 on the Zoom, 50 in the room. That's almost 100. So, everybody smile and say, Democrats. There's a lot of and get So Betsy did give us a lot of good advice on how to keep in touch with our representatives, with the people who we elected. And we are going to have Aubry giving us some ideas on how we can email, keep in touch through social media, and really act on the things that Betsy said today. Because, each one of us has a lot of power. And when we combine, that's even more powerful. So, keeping Betsy's thoughts in mind about how working in community is effective, to keep contacting people and letting them know. I used to work in the Senate, so I do know that they do count calls and emails, whether or not they respond to them or not. Numbers are very important to them. So we are,
Let me just say, if you're not going to stay for the training and other stuff on Facebook, if you could step outside or something, because we want to keep the meeting going. So Aubrey's going to talk to us now about how to do that. If you're leaving because you've seen Betsy, now you're going home, that's great. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
But we need the room for the meeting, okay? So do what you got to do. Thank you very much.
and stay well, everybody, and take care of yourself. So Aubry.
Okay, I'm going to try to keep this short, but basically I'm going to share my screen right now. Let's see. Okay, so you guys can now see my screen. So for those of you at home and or for you're not seeing it. It says you should be able to see it. Let's try again. Share this one. Share. I am. It said I was sharing. It said you are screen sharing.
Yeah, but it's black on Zoom.
Oh, is it because, hang on, maybe I have to.
Tom, can you make her a co-host? Yeah.
Nope. There, it's that I had myself screen done, but there. No, it still isn't working. Well, that's weird. But I was.
Oh, yeah.
And then I say share, watch, I go share, and then I say share my desktop.
Right.
Share.
And then you.
There it goes. No, that's not me. So then look, see, it says you are screen sharing. That is Zoom. This is Zoom. I've done it 4 times now. We might have to do this next time. I don't know what's going on, but because look, my video's on. And then, yep, and then I go.
Yeah, it looks like Aubrey's doing all the right things, but for some
Yeah,
reason
I'm saying
it's not.
share, and then I go, even if I try a different thing, I go share. That's what I'm doing.
that's
It
what you're
literally
doing.
says you are screen
Right,
sharing.
right,
Stop,
right.
stop share.
Can you do it with something that says slideshow on there?
No,
No.
it's not that kind of thing. Not a presentation. Aubry Parker's screen, and it says it's blank, but it shouldn't be.
Right. So,
We can do it next.
Tom's going to do one more thing, and if that doesn't work, then we'll probably have Aubry come back next month. But there are, if you've got questions on how to do some social media, please let us know. You can always send us a message through our email. We'll make sure that Aubry gets it if she can assist in some way. But it is important to not let up. It may seem frustrating sometime because you're not getting a response. Because you're not getting a response or you feel that you're just talking into the void, you're not.
One other thing while we're waiting is that one of the things I was going to show you today, one of the things I was going to show you guys today is that we have started just a page on our website that has like who we're following, right? And that can be on Facebook if you're on Facebook, but I know a lot of you aren't. So if you're on Instagram, if you are on, maybe you get your news through YouTube, right? My dad is a big YouTuber, okay? Whereas my mom watches MSNBC, right? And we're trying to just diversify our sources because some people are in places and they're not. My partner is a big podcaster, right? So however you like to get your news, there are a lot of people that we can be following that help us with telling us what we should be doing right now and how we should be rising to this moment. And also they're keeping you informed on which bills are important and which ones aren't to follow. So we have started a list, right? And right now the list has like 10 that I'm following that I kind of picked partly because I think they might be people you're not following. But how many of you maybe are following Heather Cox Richardson already, right? Okay, how many of you get her emails, her Substack to your email? Great. So maybe you're a Substacker, right? So there's a bunch of people who I follow who are on all of those things. And so even if you're not on Instagram, you can still follow this person. You can get their emails in your Substack. So that was one of the things I was going to show you today, and then I can show you next month if we can't get it to work. But the big thing is we're trying to build that as like a repository. So right now there's only 10 that I have that I think are kind of important. But if there are people that you think that the other Benzie Dems would like to be following, please send an email to benziedemocrats@gmail.com and we can add them to our list. It's one of the things I want to talk
Do you have
about.
Jessica Craven on your list?
It's not on our list.
Oh, Jessica Craven's a good one too.
There we
'Cause
go.
she gives it.
Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
Greta
thanks,
added it
Greta.
too. I can in a second. We're going to try this one more time and maybe I'll be able to show you, but maybe not. Still blank, isn't it? Oh, yep. Yeah, I don't know what's going on either. So,
Bruce, you had a question? Can you unmute, Bruce? Unmute yourself.
I'm signing out for today.
Okay, well,
Boss
thanks for
just
being
came
here,
home
Bruce. Have a
yeah.
good day. Stay well.
Thank you.
I shared
Bye-bye
both.
now.
Okay, but if I try this one, click share, and it says you are screen sharing.
Yeah.
But it's not. And I've tried the different ways. I've tried it 6 different times. So, okay, so real quick, so if you want to know some of the people, so one of them is Heather Cox Richardson, we have on there, Robert Reich, Jessica Craven, and then my 10 were Emily Amick, who is also known as Emily in Your Phone, Sammy Sage of Betches Media, Brian Derrick of Oath.vote, Sharon McMahon, or Sharon Says So, Jessica Yellen of News Not Noise, Moshe, I do not know how to pronounce his last name, of Mo News. Mallory McMorrow was on my list, who's a Michigan senator from Royal Oak. Liz Plank of Feminist Fabulous. V. Saparha of Under the Desk News, and Mrs. Frazzled, who's a former teacher who breaks down education stories at the national and individual state levels.
So Aubrey, we had a question. Do we put things like Alyssa Slotkin's responses and, what, some of the, either Peters or Slotkin or, following our major lawmakers, do we have that available so people can find it on our Facebook pages?
Yes, so I shared just recently on our Facebook page, if you go to our Facebook page, I recently shared Alyssa Slotkin saying that she was going to be voting no on the cloture, and then also that people should be contacting Peters because he was a questionable vote. She did a town hall virtually earlier this week, and I put that up yesterday as well. Sometimes you have to scroll down because I'm posting 30 to 50 posts a month. So that's like that's posting at least once a day. And sometimes it's more like 8 in a day and then I skip a couple days. But sometimes you do have to scroll down to find everything. But I am trying to keep up with, I regularly check Betsy Coffia's page, basically all of our elected officials. And if they have come to Benzie County, I'm posting their stuff. So if John Roth, he did happen to be in Benzie County, he didn't do a town hall, but he, it was like a Boy Scout event. And so,
And also too, we've got 2 Facebook accounts. There's the Benzie County Democrats, and then there's the discussion group.
Yes.
So, make sure you're looking at the right one because they're 2 separate things. So the official one would be the Benzie County Democrats, and that's where Aubrey is doing all this posting. Chris.
So is all of that information also on the website, the regular website?
So Marcia, what happens is on the website, on the front page, it shows about 5 maybe of the most recent Facebook pages or Facebook. Yeah, it's about 4 or 5 of the most recent Facebook posts that I've put up there. You can see, you can't see the archive if you're not following the page, but it is on there. And whenever there's something that's like newsworthy, there's a recent news and issues section of the website as well. Jim just wanted me to share, and again, I'll try to be back next month and see if we can give you guys a full tutorial. So for next month, please bring your own, however you access Facebook and social media, whether that's on a tablet like your iPad or a Kindle Fire, or if you have your phone or maybe a laptop, please bring those next time. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to have you guys actually log in. It's been about 5 years since I've walked you guys through this, and it just was really helpful in the past because one of the things is that, and I was going to show you, but 75% of on most of our normal posts, about 75% of the people who see that post are people who already follow our page. However, if a post goes viral because you guys share it, it ends up flip-flopping. And it's about 75% of new people who do not follow our page are seeing that post. And that's really powerful for a lot of reasons. A, yes, it helps to get the message out, but it also gets people to realize that the Benzie Dems are doing something. And so maybe that helps to attract new people to our meetings or whatever, or come to volunteer or whatever that is. So just make sure that this is a reminder. This was meant to be a reminder that, can you please make sure that you are, the more that you guys interact with that page by liking, I know it can sometimes be annoying, but even if you just did it once a week, just type in Benzie County Democrats into Facebook, you get in there, you click and you click like, maybe comment, that's even better. If you can share it, if you think it's your own, if you think that people on your own timeline would like to see it, that just helps to really get the word out, because the more that you're interacting with the page, for instance, let's say that I am friends with Jana. On Facebook, we are. And let's pretend that Jim is on Facebook, which he's not. And I'm friends with Jim, right? But Jim and Jana are not friends.
We're not.
On Facebook. Maybe they are in real life. But if I share something, it's likely that both Jana and Jim will see it, right? Whereas if I don't, then it's likely that maybe just Jana will see it, because Jana and I are both already following the Benzie Dems, but Jim isn't, right? And so it just helps to get that out a little bit more.
Yeah, it's like what Betsy said. It's the amplification.
Yes.
You know, it's throwing the pebble in the stream and seeing how, all the ripples. And Chris had a comment.
And I would say, I know that Betsy is a huge reason and a huge draw for why everyone came here today. But what I would say too is that I'm also sharing, so that not just Benzie Dems, I'm guessing that a lot of the people who came who are on Zoom were not Benzie Dems, because I'm also sharing that in the Manistee County Dems and the Leelanau County Dems, the Grand Traverse Dems, to encourage them to come at least virtually to our meetings if it's has a guest speaker who relates to them.
Great, thanks. Thanks, Aubry, and we will do more next time. But we did want to give Betsy as much time as she needed. I know that you all wanted to hear her, and I'm so grateful that so many of you came. And Louise has a question, but Chris first.
Thank you. I just wanted to interject, particularly for people who like hanging around the headquarters, and later on we will be open more and more. But there is another resource here along the same lines that you are all very welcome to use. So someday when you're in here hanging out, there's a little laptop on that desk right under that wonderful poster. And if you open that laptop up and click, there's a link to all of the same kinds of resources that Aubry is saying, including a number of Substack sources and a number of just other good blogs and such. So they're there. We've done it originally for the staff to stay informed, but that's available to anyone. And Michael Hertz keeps it very up to date for us. So it's another resource from your friendly Benzie Dems.
You mentioned earlier was it a email site where we should send information to?
Just if you have things that you want to add to that list of resources to follow, it's just benziedemocrats@gmail.com, and we'll make sure to get that on there. The other thing that we didn't mention, and again, we'll go into more depth this next month, but maybe this is a challenge to see how many of you guys can do this over the next month before we have the tutorial, right? So see how you can do this on your own, and then come and see if you have questions at the next meeting. Get on our website, and there is a part of the website where you sign up for email newsletters. How many of you are signed up for email newsletters already? Great, about half the room. So we might want to get some more of you signed up. So Jim is sending emails 1 to 3 times a week, depending on if we have an event going on, and reminders of that. But one thing that I would say is you can send that Google, it's just a form that they fill out. It's like name, email address, whatever. And so if we have that information from you, what you can do is you can send out an email with that part of our website to 5 friends. Send it out to 5 friends that you think aren't signed up for the Benzie Dems emails right now who might want to sign up. And that's a way, if every single person in this room did that, we could get 100 new people on our email list. And that's really powerful. So, it seems like it's something small, but something small that you can do can really help to amplify the message. It's all about amplification.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, Aubry, and we'll hear more about Aubry from Aubry next time. Is there any other business Anybody have anything else before we adjourn to do our, if you want to stay and make some signs for Saturday, even if you're not planning to be there, we will take the signs that you.
At first, I thought it was because I had my video. At first,
Turn your volume.
You though, no one can see it.
my audio is not. It's not me.
Somebody's not muted.
Okay, who had the question? Jan?
I just wanted to, I'm down here in Manistee County, so I'm a Manistee County Dem, but I come into your meeting, but I love your meeting and I love your enthusiasm and your energy. I just wanted to say last night we had a little social gathering of our friends and neighbors, and it was a real easy thing to do. We had a little dance party and we handed out these postcards, and they're backwards, but it basically said, call your reps, and we wrote down the phone numbers of our particular reps down here and handed them out to people. And it was a really simple and easy way to get the phone numbers that are needed in people's hands. And it was also, like Betsy said, joy is resistance, and we are coming together to have some fun and to be community together. So it's really important to build relationships. And so we're going tonight to another event that's at the Brown Town Hall, Song and Story Night down here in Manistee County, and we'll be handing out these postcards to people. It's just easy to do on lined, note card paper. So that's my little plug.
Great. Thanks, Jan. And then if you guys come up here sometimes, you'll make sure you come and visit us. We'd love to see you. Just one other thing. We do have there is another movie series that's going to start. Arlene, when does that start? March 27th. It's going to be at the Garden Theater in Frankfurt. It's one of 3 films that all deal with democracy, and it's put on by our friends at Woo Woo, the great local radio station. If you haven't heard Woo Woo, make sure you go to 101.5, right? Oh, I'm sorry, 101. Okay, thank you. All right, anything else? We've hit a record, I think, for the number of people attending. I am so proud of all of you. Spread joy, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and this meeting's adjourned.
Everybody on Zoom, have a beautiful day.
You too, Steve.
And we're going to get to hear it this time.
Oh my gosh, I'm not going to go until this is over.
Me neither.
I totally love Bonnie Rand.
I love this woman. Oh, where'd the sound go?
What happened to it?
I don't know.
That's not right.
But it was beautiful.
It was fun.
It was.
Having a good time.
Uh,
Oh, well.